Right, hi guys. Sorry I've been away for a while. I've had sessions and live work taken over my life for the last month or so, but we're back. So let's carry on with our gas diaries. And today we look at effects loops. So effectively, an effects loop is a way of isolating certain effects, taking them out of the immediate signal line and allowing them to be free, if you will. So if we look at, let's take some old amps for example, we take the old Fenders or Marshalls or so on and so forth. They didn't have effects loops. Every effect that you wanted to use, you ran it straight into the front of the amp. It would take your guitar signal, it would process it through your pedals, it would go through the preamp gain, it would go through the EQ, and it would run through the power amp and out to your speakers, and that was it. But there are certain effects that don't particularly like being processed through the preamp, so the gain and the EQ and so on and so forth. And the effects loop allows you to remove them from that first preamp stage and put them in afterwards. Now, there's two different types of effects loop. There's series and there's parallel. What a series effects loop does is it will take your entire signal, so your guitar, whatever pedals you do put in front of your amp, the preamp gain and the EQ, run the entire signal out of the send through whatever effects you have plugged into the loop, back into the return power amp speakers. So this is what's known as a 100% wet signal. All of the signal goes out to the effects loop and comes back in. Whereas a parallel works in the same kind of way. It will take everything from before the preamp through the preamp, send the signal out, affect it with whatever effects you've got and come back in, but at the same time has a dry signal, so an unaffected signal running through. So effectively you have your dry signal and your affected signal running in parallel, hence the name. The main difference between these two is the parallel will have a mix control. So you have 100% wet, effectively making it a series, or anything down to, say, 10%. So you can blend in your effects with much more precision and control. Now, what goes in the effects loop is a bit of a contentious issue, but there are a couple of rules to stand by. Distortion overdrives, EQ effects, so your wah pedals or anything like that, don't go in the effects loop. Primarily what you'd end up doing is having your gain stage and all of your EQ stage running through another gain and EQ stage after the fact, and it just won't sound right. The gain levels and stages and everything, so we're not going to go into that. But your time-based effects can work really nicely in the effects loop, so delays, reverb, modulation, so chorus, flange, phaser, can work really well. Now the contentious part is which ones do and which ones don't. Everyone has their own opinion. But let's say, for sake of argument, purely time-based, delay and reverb. Just try them in your effects loop and see what they sound like. So let's have a quick comparison of delay and reverb before the amp, through a series loop and through a parallel loop. Well, the answer to this is really, what do you like? What sounds best for you? As I said earlier, old amps didn't have effects loops. So your Jimmy Pages, your Brian Mays, the Edge, all of those guys had to run all of their effects straight into their amps. Okay, nowadays they probably don't, but when they put down those records, they had no choice. And they sound phenomenal, let's face it, they're legends for a reason. But now you have the option to do that. You have the option to place those effects after the processing of the preamp. But what one sounds right? It really comes down to your playing, to your style, to the sound that you want. So go out, try it. Don't be afraid, ashamed to take your pedal board into a guitar shop, sit down, plug in, and try them out. So thanks guys, hope you found that enlightening. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, if you have any video responses of you playing around with your effects in loops or anything like that, please comment below. Remember to subscribe, and I shall be back soon with another guest diary. Cheers guys.